Hello, Susan Zink here, and this is a second part to the video that I've already offered to you about punishment. Now, in that video, I talked about the fact that we have lots of moms who want to avoid punishment, but they really are not adequately putting something else in place that will replace the purpose that punishment served in their own upbringing and in the upbringing of children whose parents still are working from that model. And I talked about that you have to be in a place of being able to deal with your own pain a little bit if you're going to look for an alternative. Now, one of the things I know is that when we talk about things like that, some of the pain that comes up is from us reflecting on the mothering we've already done. And when we've, spanked a child or done something else that we feel bad about. And I think it's really important that you recognize you're going to do things that mess up. You're going to do things that you're going to feel really bad about having done. And as you know, I hope by now, I don't want you going into guilt. I want you going into reflection. And I'm going to share my one of the worst mothering moments that I had with my young children. And it actually was a very public one in some ways because the very first article I ever had published that wasn't in a school publication was actually about what I'm going to tell you right now. So I studied with a man who I still have a lot of respect for, and he has a lot of insight into children who have learning challenges and just a lot of really valuable insights that I took away from studying with him. But one of the things that he said was, if you're going to punish a child, it needs to be rare and it needs to be something that is going to be really memorable and so memorable that it truly extinguishes the behavior. And if you're familiar with behavior modification, then that's terminology will have more meaning for you. What he suggested was a drop of Tabasco sauce on the tongue. Now, as I said, not only is this the only thing I've ever published that I am ashamed of, it is one of the worst moments that I had with my child. And I don't even know what my son was doing that caused me to feel he needed a punishment that was so intense that it would absolutely extinguish that behavior. And that's part of the point of the story. I don't even know what the problem was, but I did that. And it is something that he and I fortunately joke about today, but is one of the things I absolutely feel worst about in my whole time of mothering, because it was awful. It was a terrible thing, and it may very well have extinguished that behavior, but who cares? It was such a terrible thing to put in place of it that it didn't make sense. Now, the thing that I want you to take from this is that first, you're going to mess up. There's a wonderful Maya Angelou quote that says, you do the best that you can until you know better. And then when you know better, you do better. And that's all that you can do. So whatever horrible things you feel like you've done with your children, you need to first take what the lesson is from it. So for me, the lesson of that was nothing is worth what that experience was. Nothing. I don't care what the behavior is that I don't want them to do anymore. It's not worth this. So you take the lesson away and then you let it go. You let it go and you come to a new place and you say, I'm going to do better. Now, I wish I could tell you that, oh, that happened, a week or two after I did that. No. I was using punishment in some form or another until my children were grown. Now, it wasn't Tabasco sauce. It was things like penalty jobs, and I'll tell that story in another video. But one of the things I realized when I was chatting with my sons before I moved just about a year ago, I said, talk to me about your experience. Talk to me about when you were kids and what you liked and what you didn't like. And there wasn't a lot of things they didn't like. And there wasn't very much that came up, oh, I wish you hadn't done that. And I realized that even though I was still using punishment and things I would never use today with my grandchildren or suggest that you use, I was steadily improving. I was steadily substituting things that were more effective than punishment. And that's the reason why at the end of that time, there was very little punishment going on. There was a little bit, but we were solving problems together. And that's the point of this video. If you're not going to punish, one of the things that has to happen is you have to put in place methods, deliberate times where you do problem solving with your children. They have to have a say. They have to participate, because that is the only really effective thing that's going to let you eliminate punishment completely and still have respectful behavior and the boundaries that you and your children need for happy and secure, healthy lives.